Namaste, dear student. You are welcome to our classroom of English Lesson Grade 9, Unit number 9. Are you all ready? Good. We have our English textbook. Do you have your textbook? Good. Now get ready with your textbook and turn your book, page number 107. Did you find it? Excellent. Now, are you all ready? Good. Now get ready with your textbook, exercise book and pen. Can you guess what are we going to learn today? Good. We are going to learn a story. And can you guess the title of the story? Good. It is about the ant and the grasshopper. Yes. Getting started. Read the following quotations and discuss what you think they mean. Can you guess the given quotation and their meanings? The first quotation goes like this. All things are difficult before they are easy. What does it mean? Can you guess, anyone? Good. Things are not always easy. When we have a plan to do something, practice and practice, then the difficult things become what? Very easy. It means let's practice the difficult things and let us make the difficult things the easy. Next quotation, any time is a good time to start a company. What does it mean? Can one of you guess? Good. So we don't have to wait our time to do a good work. So we can start any time to do the good work. So let's do the good work to start on time. Let us not wait to anyone, to anybody else. We can start any good work on any time. Next, we work to earn our leisure. What does it mean? Can you guess? Good. So do not waste our time. Let us utilize our leisure time. When we utilize our leisure time, we do something good in future. We can achieve good result in the future. Next quotation, here we have, work hard in silence, let your success be noise. What does it mean? Can one of you guess? Good. Excellent. So, it means that we should work hard in silence, and then when we have a plan to do something, everything will be on our fingertips. You know, it means that let's work silence and let our success be publicized. Now, the summarization of this lesson, work and leisure, is like this. Number one, all things are difficult before they are easy, as I have said. And another is, any time is a good time to start a company. We work to earn our leisure. Work hard in silence and let your success be your noise. Now we have a reading comprehension 1. In this reading comprehension, dear student, we have two narratives. The first narrative is about the ant and the grasshopper, whereas in the second narrative, we have a story about George Ramsay, Tom Ramsay, narrator, and then Cronshaw. These are two separate narratives we are going to learn now. Are you all ready? Good. Now look at the picture and answer this question. What do you think the two insects are doing? Can you guess? Good. The ant in the given picture, you may guess the ant is working hard. Why the ant is working hard? He is working hard in order to save his winter. Winter is a very difficult time, so the ant is laborious. The ant works hard in the summer. He wants to save his winter. That's why ant is a very laborious insect here, whereas on the other hand, the grasshopper is a very lazy. Why he is lazy? He is always lazy because he does not want to work in the summer, so that he doesn't have any food to eat. Can you guess? Good. So, what do you think happens to them when winter comes? Can you guess the answer? Good. When the winter comes, the ant becomes very easy. Why? He has a lot of food. He has already stored the food in the summer. Whereas the grasshopper doesn't have any food to eat in the winter. Why? Why? Because he does not work in the summer, because he is lazy. Good. Now, in the next story, as I said, student, we have two narrative. As I have said, the first narrative about the ant and the grasshopper, and in the second narrative, we have the story between George Ramsay, Tom Ramsay, and other characters. And who are those characters? They are found, they are used in the story. Let us talk about now. Are you all ready? Good. Now, the first character in the story is narrator himself, and narrator, the person who tells us the whole story. And the second one is Tom Ramsay. Tom Ramsay, who is Tom Ramsay? Can you guess? No. Yes. Tom Ramsay is a younger brother of George Ramsay, and he is an odd member, and he is known as a black sheep of a family. Similarly, why he is known as a black sheep of a family? He always blackmails or threats George, so that he is a problematic member. He is an odd member of a family, and he always blackmails and threats to his brother. What is the name of his brother? George Ramsay, the older brother. And Tom Ramsay cheats Cronsa also. At last in the story, fraud. Tom Ramsay makes fraud to Cronsa in the story. And then what does he do in the story? He buys a car and jewelry from whose money? From George's money. Who is George here? George is the oldest brother of Tom in the story. And then he leaves his wife in office. He was corrupted. He borrows money from his friends or anyone, and then he did not pay that money, that sum of money, and then he collected money from his friends, and then he bought car and expensive jewelry from George's money, and he went to what? Traveling. So he is such kind of person in the story, and he wants to enjoy a very luxurious life, very comfortable life. This is what the features or the characters of Tom Ramsay. And the third character is George Ramsay. It's a very respectable person. Ramsay's family were very, very respectable person in the society. Okay, so George Ramsay is a very respectable person. He's always serious man. And who is he? He is the oldest brother of Tom Ramsay. Good, here we go. Serious, respectable and decent person, helps Tom many times. Look at, Tom always cheated his brother, whereas George always supports his brother, his younger brother Tom. Contradiction is there between George and Tom in the character. Good. Now Cronsa is another character in the story, and he cheated by Tom at last in the story. And what is the role of Cronsa here? He was about to take revenge on Tom. Now the setting of the story in the second part of the second narrative of the story, you may find, dear student, in the restaurant or in the restaurant. Each and every activities are done there in the restaurant. Now let us go to read the first paragraph of the story. Are you all ready, student? Good. Can one of you read? Very good. Now, listen to me. I'm going to read the first paragraph of the story. The Ant and the Grasshopper. When I was a very small boy, I was made to learn by heart certain of the fables of La Fontaine, and the moral of each was carefully explained to me. Among those I learned was the ant and the grasshopper. Who said it? It is said by the narrator. When he was a very small boy, he was made to learn by heart certain of fables. You know the meaning of fables. At last you will understand the vocabulary items, ancient type of story. And then the narrator learned about a fable, and it was taken from La Fontaine, the collection of fable books. Okay, and what did he learn? He learned about the ant and the grasshopper story. Very wonderful story. Yes, good. Which is devised to bring home to the young the useful lesson that in an imperfect world, industry is rewarded and giddiness punished. In this admirable fable, the ant spends a laborious summer gathering its winter store, while the grasshopper sits on a blade of grass singing to the sun. Winter comes and the ant is comfortably provided for, but the grasshopper has an empty larder. How interesting is it? Okay, good. He goes to the ant and begs for a little food. Then the ant gives him her classic answer. What were you doing in summertime? Now, this is the first paragraph of the story. I guess you might have understood the story and you can read the story. Can you all read the story? Excellent. Here we have the vocabulary. You can just read out the vocabulary. Yeah? And it is also given in the paragraph also. Now, let me explain the first paragraph of the story. The narrator in the story, he was made to learn a fable, and it was collected by a La Fontaine fable, collection of fables book. And it was, the fable was about the ant and the grasshopper. What did you understand by the first paragraph? And from the first paragraph, I believe you may understand the ant is a very laborious. Why he is laborious? He works hard in the summer. Why he works hard in the summer? He works hard in the summer in order to save his future. Future means winter. Winter is difficult to survive. Whereas grasshopper doesn't do so. Grasshopper only was sitting on the sun, laughing and teasing. To whom? To the ant. Right? Good. So, the grasshopper doesn't have any food to have in the winter. And then, one day, the grasshopper asked the ant for food. And what was the response of the ant to the grasshopper? No. Classic answer. You may find out. Classic answer. Where were you doing in the summer? He said. Who said? The ant said. What were you doing? What were you doing in the summer? You never did in the summer, and you are just requesting me for food to have in the winter? No. So, who is laborious here? The ant is laborious. Who is lazy here? The grasshopper is lazy. Good. This is what the first paragraph, and then you may understand and write the difficult words which are given there. Good. Now, next, the second paragraph, and we have the difficult words gloom. You may find out and write it in your exercise book. And then what happens in the now I have given you a model reading practice. Now, the remaining ideas. The remaining paragraph you can read yourself. I will just explain only. Okay? Good. Now, in the second paragraph, gloom. There is a meaning of gloom, partial or total darkness. So, what happens in the story in the second paragraph? You may find out. I could not help thinking of this fable, and then I saw. Now, there are, as I said, two narratives are there in the story. The first narrative is about the ant and the grasshopper, and in the second narrative about the Persian, George. Now, can you just exemplify the role of ant with Tom, George, Cronshaw, or narrator, its other characters in the story? Good. Here in the story, George and Tom are resembles with the ant and the grasshopper. Whose role is let's say like the ant. George is, we say that George is a very respectable person. So George is somehow related to, his behavior and his activities are linked with, similar with the ant. Why? He is laborious, he works, he is respectable. Whereas the role of Tom is similar to the grasshopper. George's roles and George's characters are similar to the ant, and the characters of Tom are similar to the grasshopper. Okay. The next one, and then what happens? There was a conversation between Tom and then let's say the George also, and there is a conversation between Tom, George, and the narrator. And then the narrator found George was very serious. He was in a restaurant and sigged, means long breath. He was staring into the space. And then the narrator asked George, what happened to you? Do you have any problem? Does anyone give some problem, some trouble to you? And the narrator asks George that, is it Tom again? Good. So, and what is the response of George again? So, here is the meaning of difficult word, hilarious. Hilarious means extremely amusing or funny, humorous. And then again, the narrator is asking question to the George Ramsay. Are you understanding, student? Good. So, who was a black sheep in a family? Black sheep means odd member of a family. Of course, Tom. Who gave lot of trouble to George? Of course, Tom. What did Tom do? And why George was staring into the space? Okay, and this paragraph talks about. And here we have the meaning of difficult words. Black sheep means an odd member of the family. Soul trial, you may find out the words which are written in the red color. So, please identify those words and then meaning and note down their meanings in your exercise book. Are you doing so? Good. Black sheep means an odd member of the family. Who is a black sheep in the story? Of course, Tom Ramsay is a black sheep in the family. Why he is a black sheep in the family? He is a black sheep in the family because he gives a lot of trouble, problem. He created problem all the times, and he created problem and then gives problem to his brother George. And who was in a sore trial? Of course, George was in a sore trial. He was in a pensive mode. Who was in a pensive mode? George was in a pensive mode. Why? Why? Because Tom Ramsay, he works in office, he started a business, and without any reason, without any warning, without any objection, without any notice, he left the job, he left the home, he left the children, and unfortunately, dear student, he left his wife. He was good enough in the beginning of the story. Are you listening? Yes. So, Tom Ramsay is a very good person in the beginning of the story, but later on what happens? This earning money is just boring. Do not waste our time only for the necessities. Who said it? Tom Ramsey said it. So, because of these sort of problems created by Tom Ramsey, to whom? To his brother George. George became so upset, shocked, and then George feels a kind of serious pain, and he becomes distressed as well. So, this is what this paragraph says about. And Ramsey's family were very respectable. George was respectable, and then their people honor them. Because of Tom, yes, problem comes in their family. And here is a meaning of expostulation. So, it means the reasons, objection, as I said, and protest. Good. Now, let us go to learn the next paragraph and understand the next paragraph. So, we have the meaning, difficult meanings, profoundly, to a profound extent or extremely. Similarly, you can say unscrupulous, having or showing no moral principle. Who doesn't have moral principle? Of course, Tom doesn't have moral principle. He was corrupted also. He asks money from his brother George, and George also gives a lot of money to Tom, thinking that he would settle one day himself. He would settle. Who? Tom would settle one day. So, Tom Ramsey was unscrupulous. He was not honest. He was not fair. He was corrupted. He asked money from others, but did not pay, did not give again, return back again. A lot of problems created by Tom in Ramsey's family. And what was his intention? His intention was to have a luxurious life. Luxurious life. This paragraph says, and you can read out the remaining ideas from this paragraph. Luxuries means a state of great comfort or elegance. Next one, next paragraph, here we can go. Now, there are some difficult words. Are you writing the difficult words in your exercise book, dear student? Good. Please copy the words from the textbook and write it in your exercise book. Enticement, attractions. Who was attracted by whom? Tom Ramsey was attracted with unnecessary thing. And in this regard, George was a serious man. He was very sensible. And then what happens? And then George wanted to make his improvement, make his amendment. But did Tom do so? No, Tom doesn't do so. His brother George Ramsey gave a lot of money for his betterment, for his improvement, but Tom Ramsey didn't do so. But what did Tom Ramsey does? Tom Ramsey bought a car, motor car, and some very expensive, nice jewelry. From whose money? From George's money. And what was the thinking of George? The thinking of George was, one day my brother Tom Ramsey would settle himself, so that George Ramsey gives money all the times. But on the other hand, what Tom Ramsey does, he collects money from his brother, and he bought a car and expensive jewelry. This is what Tom Ramsey does from George's money. Okay. And then what happens, dear student, later in the story, there, after collecting the money, Tom, after collecting the money from George, he left his office, he left his wife, he left his home, and he wanted to have a very luxurious life. And one day he did not have money at all. Who? Tom. Tom Ramsey did not have money at all. And then he went to his friends and asked money. Ask money. Who? Tom. Tom went to his friends. He collected money from friends as well. And who has to pay the money taken by Tom? George, his brother. His brother has to pay. His brother has to return the money. It was taken by Tom Ramsey. And one day, there was they were in the restaurant. There was a discussion between Tom Ramsey, George, and then Kronsa. Kronsa also was there. Okay, and then what happens in the story? Tom did not have enough money, and then he spent a lot of things asking and eating and having there in the restaurant, and there was no one to pay. Again, what happens? Again, George gave money to Tom and then paid whatever they spent there in the restaurant. Okay, and then after, when George Ramsey saw Tom Ramsey in the restaurant, George himself felt nervous and shocked again. Why? Because he was a respectable person. He was known by everyone, George Ramsey. He was a very serious and sensible person. Okay, and he felt sad. He felt sad again. And there in the story, Tom said that to serve in a bar or to drive a taxi was a perfect decent occupation to Tom himself, as I said, and we discussed already. Yes or no? Yes, good. And George could oblige him with a couple of £100. He did not mind for the honor of the family giving it up. George paid wherever Tom spent. George simply paid the money spent by Tom Ramsey. And here are some difficult words you can read out and then note down it in your exercise book. Are you doing so? Good. Now, enticement, attractions, temptations, amendment, improvement, considerable, that means noted, qualm, that means doubt or regret, of lies, that is force. Now, the next, the last paragraph of the story, here we can go, dear student. Once Tom nearly went to prison. George was terribly upset. He went into the whole discreditable affair. Now, yes, because of the bad deeds of Tom, Tom was nearly went to the prison. And we have the meaning of the words. Can you note down the meaning of those words? Please copy the words and the meaning and the pronunciation. Are you with me? Good. Excellent. Now, when Tom nearly went to the prison, George was terribly upset. He went into the whole discreditable. Discreditable means a wrong affair. It was a very, very wrong affair to George. Why? Why? Because Tom was about to go to the prison because of his bad deeds. He cheated friends, he cheated his brother, he cheated his whole life, he cheated his family. Yes or no? Good. Really, Tom had gone too far. He had been wild, thoughtless and selfish, but he had never before done anything dishonest, by which George meant illegal. And if he were prosecuted, he would assuredly be convicted. But you cannot allow your only brother to go to jail. The man Tom had cheated, a man called Kronsa. What was the cheating of Tom and Kronsa here? Tom took some money from friends, okay, and then he cheated to his brother George. Because why he cheated? He did not have enough money, and he wanted to have a very luxurious life. Who wanted to have? Tom wanted to have very luxurious life, but he did not have enough money. Isn't it? Good. And then he started cheating to his brother George. If you don't give 500 rupees, 500 pounds, okay, and then we will go to the jail. And then Tom created a fake case. It was not a real case. It was a very fake case. And then Tom and Kronsa also, both of them made a fake case, and then they cheated. Both of them cheated George, in the last paragraph of the story, and they collected what? They collected again 500 pounds, and then they changed those sort of amount into the cash. They changed it into the cash, check into the cash, and both of them, Cronsa, his friend, Tom friends, and then Tom himself, they had gone off together to Monte Carlo the moment they cashed the check, after exchanging the check into the cash, and they spent the happy life, happy month over there. Who? Tom and Cronsa. This is what the story all about. Now, did you understand, student? I believe you understood well. Now, let's talk about the remaining section of the story. Now, choose appropriate words from the box below to replace the colored words in the given sentences based on the text above. Here we have the words industry, hilarious, qualm, enticement, obliged, amendments, expostulation. Can you guess now? You can answer the questions, and then you can just identify the meaning and the words and their meaning, and you can note down in your exercise book. Here we can. Diligence. The first, okay, industry. Yes. Diligence, the meaning of diligence, if your talent combines with diligence, you can excel in your field. What does it mean, diligence here? Can you guess? Good. It means, you're right, industry. Similarly, temptation. Temptation, what does it mean? I'm not reading out all the sentences. You can read and then find out the difficult words. Temptation, the meaning of temptation here is enticement. Similarly, objection, expostulation, modification, amendments, regret, qualm. You can guess it. Yes, you are right. Now, humorous. Can one of you guess it? Good. Humorous. Hilarious. Excellent. Now, according to the story, given story, reading comprehension, put the following sentences from the story in the correct order. These are not the sentences which are given in the correct order. You can read out and please write them in correct order. And these are the questions. You can just look at your book and read the sentences, given sentences, and make them in a correct order. Can you do? Excellent. Now here, yes, the Ramsays were perfectly respectable people. We find the sentence in the first order in the story. Second, Tom left his wife and his office. It comes in the second. Third, when his money was spent, he borrowed it from friends and spent it on luxuries. Next, number 4, D, George continued to pay for his brother's expenses. And E, in this way you can write and then make a note in your exercise book. This is what? The correct order of those sentences according to the reading story. Can you do it? Sure, you can do it. Now let's go to another section. Answer the following question. Here are some questions. You can read out the questions. Number A, question number A. Why is Tom described as a black sheep of the Ramsay family? Can one of you say? Good. Why Tom Ramsay is described as a black sheep? You know black sheep? Odd member of a family, not similar to others. Very, very extraordinary. Let's say odd means not in doing good work, but bad work. Why? Can you guess? Good. you can find out the answer from this paragraph. See? Yeah, the lines are also, the answers are, the possible answer are also underlined. See, Tom is described as a black sheep in Ramses' family because he always created problems. He gives a lot of problem to George. Okay, he cheated George many times. So I have underlined the answer, possible answer from this paragraph. You can also see and then please copy the answer and find out the answer from the paragraph. Are you sure? Good. Now, what was a respectable profession for Tom? Can you guess? Can one of you guess what was the respectable profession for Tom? Good. Excellent. Here you have the paragraph to guess the answer. Can you guess? Can one of you read the paragraph? Good. Yes. Can you now identify the, can you find out the answer? Drive a taxi, serve in a bar, or to drive a taxi. Now you are right. You are okay. All right to find out the answer again. Now here is the answer. The respectable profession for Tom is to serve in a bar or to drive a taxi. Good. Now we have the remaining questions as well, and then you can have a similar type of practice, the other questions as well. For example, why was George Ramsay staring into space? You can have a lot of practices finding out the answer from the given paragraphs. So I request all of you to find out the answer reading the given paragraphs. Okay? Good. Now next question, why did Tom leave his work and wife? We have the answer here, student. You can find out the answer from your textbook as well. And number next, how did Tom manage his life when he ran out of money in the beginning? Yes, how did Tom manage his life? He asked money from his brother. You can guess it. Borrowed from friends as well. Who borrowed money from friends? Of course, Tom Ramsay borrowed money from his friends. Good. This is what the answer. And then F number, how did Kransa and Tom cheat? You can find out the answer from there, okay, in the paragraph. And then by creating a fake case, Kransa and Tom cheated George by creating a fake case. And then they decided to take that fake case in the court. When the George Ramsay listened, heard it, George Ramsay became again shocked and then nervous. And then he suddenly gave money to Tom. How cunning Tom is here. Student? Yes? Good. Now, you can do the rest of other questions by reading this story. Now, what is the moral of the story? The ant and the grasshopper. The moral of the story, the ant and the grasshopper is, we should work hard at right time in order to shape our good future, right future, best future. Do not waste our time. Similarly, now is the right time to make a fresh start. Don't do late to make a fresh start. Start now. Similarly, next moral lesson that we learn, dear student, is never and ever let down the one who has done everything for your sake. Help them who has really done something for you. This is what we learned from this lesson. Now here is a brief summary of the story. Let me read out this brief summary in a very short time. Ramsays were respectable people. George Ramsay had a brother, Tom, who was not laborious but problematic. Though he started a business, he left thinking that it was boring. He not only left his business but also his wife and 2 children and went for traveling. He borrowed money from friends when he had none, and George continuously helped him with the money, thinking that he would start a new business and settle one day, as we discussed in the story in the beginning and then in the middle part of the story also. Similarly, But with the money Judge gave, he bought a car. Who? Tom. He bought a car and some jewelry. He never settled down, and when he did not get money from his brother George, he started blackmailing him. Lastly, he charged a fake case with the help of Cransa and got 500 pounds, and as soon as they cashed the check, and they both went to Monte Carlo and remained there for months. They means Cransa and Tom. This is what the summary of the story. Did you understand? Good. Now, here we have the question, how do you characterize yourself as the ant or the grasshopper? Rank yourself on the scale. And another one is, create a similar story that you have recently read. These two questions are your homework. Please complete this work at home and bring it tomorrow, and see you. Goodbye and namaste. Thank you.